she's like, I'd hop up on this console and receive you right here.
Engage.
Oh my.
And Picard's like, my word, does the whole crew wish to fuck me?
Perhaps I could use this as an excuse to go to those far-off planets with little polka-dotted people if necessary, and be able to talk about love, war, nature, God, sex, all those things that go to make up the excitement of the human condition.
This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
Welcome aboard.
Jean-Luc Picard to the Starship Enterprise.
You want to review your rapid progress?
That nonsense is centuries behind us. To the Starship Enterprise.
Oh, yeah?
And it's enough, damn it!
Tempo, mon capitan.
To the Starship Enterprise.
But you can't deny that you're still a dangerous, savage child race.
Of the planet Earth.
You just don't get it, do you, Jean-Luc? That is the exploration that awaits you. Not mapping stars and studying nebula, but charting the unknown possibilities of existence.
Nuch, and welcome to Humanist Trek, I say. It is a comedy Star Trek podcast about the humanism in Star Trek. I'm Sarah Ray.
And I'm Allie Ashmead.
Allie, I'm excited to tell you I got a new Star Trek costume.
Nice.
I got myself a red Command Division Lower Decks era costume.
Cool.
So,
I have a blue one, so yeah.
So now when we do cons, we have more options. We can do a Lower Decks day together. We could do a TOS day together. We could do the Planetarium.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of choices now. I also ordered the Pips.
Okay.
From the Next Gen era. And I was going to get the Lower Decks communicator badge, but apparently I didn't click add to cart. And so I went to look at it later and I was like, oh, fuck, I thought I ordered both of them.
You can get it now. You can still go back and get it.
Yeah, I know.
You've got plenty of time for our next con.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think, I have a yellow Strange New Worlds costume. Do you have anything for Strange New Worlds?
I don't have Strange New Worlds yet. That's one of the ones I was looking at. So there are a few that I was considering.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I have anything for TNG. And then I saw those racing suits for Voyager that I really like to get. Those are cool. The white, and I think, is it all white?
It is like a white and gray, I think.
Gray
or
on
something.
the shoulder.
Yeah. That's from that one episode where Tom raced the Delta Flyer.
Searching.
So this is one of the ones I was considering.
Oh.
The Admiral TNG era uniform. And there they are as it appeared on screen. And I think that's coming up in Conspiracy. I think that's what that picture is from.
And the thing is, they have these one-off, that, how are we supposed to keep all these in our brain?
Right.
Because they have the different ones for the movie, and then, really?
So I was considering getting one of these because one of the things I like is the arm pad, like the armband is different.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they put their rank insignia, which I think is cool. Another one that I looked at was this Admiral. This is a Fleet Admiral or Rear Admiral or something. This is a different flag officer Admiral uniform. So I considered that one. But this is what I ended up getting. I ended up not getting the Strange New Worlds version of the Lower Decks uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Those colors are more muted. I got the actual Lower Decks bright color, cartoon color.
I got the blue one on that.
I like this one too, the Pike wraparound.
Oh man,
I love that one. Anyway, I could spend all of my money on Star Trek costumes.
Oh, I know. Me too. And I already have. I think I was counting them up of how many I have already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 different uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them are from Into Darkness, the red and blue dresses.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the typical Uhura dress. I've got the yellow Strange New Worlds. I've got the Lower Decks blue uniform. I'm getting quite a collection, but I still want another one. I want to buy another one.
Oh, fuck yeah. I have a list now, just deciding between those, 3 or 4 that I had picked out was very difficult.
Yeah.
I want the other ones.
And the only thing I remember from Enterprise was the jumpsuit, the blue jumpsuit, which I think would be really comfy.
I think so too. It's very much like car mechanic looking.
Yeah. Yeah. Working,
this has got to be because I'm a spoiled little brat whose mommy made them a Star Trek The Next Generation costume from the pattern when I was a kid.
Yep.
But every time I look at the ones online, like this one looks like it might be pretty decent quality, but I feel like they never get the little notch in the bottom just quite right. It's either too high or too low, or the angle looks weird or stupid. And look, this guy's fucking sleeves come down so far past the color notch. I don't know. I have not seen a next gen costume that I like to purchase to pre-make.
Sarah, I guess you're gonna need to learn to sew.
No, I'll just hire someone from Etsy again, like I did with my TOS one.
Yeah.
Listen, if my mommy could still sew, if her body was working, she would totally.
She
make
would still
me
make you
one.
one.
Fuck yeah, she would. Well, you know who else likes a good costume change?
Oh my God. Very nice.
Thank you very much. I'll be here all week. Tip your waitresses. Q, of course. And now we're right back into Q's fun and games in Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 10, Hyde and Q.
He's back.
Commander, you'll soon be getting an intruder alert.
What? That's something, sir.
Intruder alert, sir.
It's an old-style starship, sir. Constellation class, heading this way under impulse comm.
Number 1, kindly take charge of our guests until we have time to decide what we're going to do with them. Sir, number 1, keep them out of my way.
For some reason, right out of the gate, we're told that Counselor Troy will not be joining us for this adventure. They dropped her off at a starbase so she could, pop back home for a visit. So I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, something in this episode wouldn't work if we had a telepath readily available.
Yeah.
Had to get her. Got to get her out of the picture somehow, or maybe Marina just needed to use some
maybe
PTO
she was busy
or something. Yeah,
she was busy. I don't remember why she wasn't there, but it was one of the few times she wasn't there. But they just had to explain her absence.
Anyway, dropping her off at the starbase for a family reunion put the Enterprise in just the right place at the right time to help deal with an accidental explosion at a nearby mining operation. Sounds like a real big medical emergency. And again, I want to point out the score in this episode. Right from jump, there's this tense action mode happening in the music that really, along with the crew scurrying around the hallways and shit, like,
yep.
This is very like, oh shit's going down. We are on it right now. Let's go.
Yeah. This is what we do, and that
right.
And the medical teams, like you said, they're all scurrying around in the hallways. Crusher's barking orders. They've got 504 colonists on the site, and they're prepared to be able to treat that massive number of injuries.
We also find out that we're still 3.2 hours away, so they're really rushing, and I feel like they've got plenty of time to get all this shit together. But anyway.
Yeah.
Was this the episode we got asked the question about the walls? The change to the set. Was that this episode?
Wait. No. It was the one before it. Because I did notice something on the walls, and these walls were
1990s wallpaper from some mall or something like that.
Yeah, some sort of design. And I'm like, wait, has it always been that way?
No.
It had me thinking. So this was the one. This is Q. So we were asked about Q and how many episodes.
Oh, that's right. How many other episodes there were. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. No, but their walls they're awful looking in this particular hallway.
I'm thinking, I don't remember them looking like this, but
right? Like,
there we are.
Is there a difference between like I don't know, for the different sections have different walls? I don't know that we ever see this particular wallpaper again, but it's awful.
Yeah.
Picard checks in with Crusher from the bridge. The new casualty count is 504, which Crusher thinks they'll be able to manage. In the meantime, we're still 3.2 hours away, ripping at warp 9.1, and this is all the perfect setup for some Q meddling.
Oh no, it's the space fence again. Just as Geordi's about to say, I'm picking up a force field, there that wonderful chain link fence appears.
Run on down to Lowe's and pick you up some chain link space fence. Lowe's knows space chain link fits.
And they have to come to a emergency full stop. And Picard is like, not now, damn it. But then there's a flash on the bridge, and then appears this bulb with 3 cobras heads coming out. And I guess, as we learn, it's an Aldebaran serpent. But we hear this thing is floating on the bridge, and we hear Q's voice.
And just like in Farpoint, fucking Tasha and Worf whip out their heaters and go leaping over the horseshoe console.
Oh my God. Okay. The way I was like, what the fuck? Worf leaps over. He does like a Dukes of Hazzard kind of leap over the banister. And I was like, I wonder how many takes that took, because that was him doing it. There was no stunts. That was literally him jumping over the banister. And Tasha right behind him, and their faces are drawn. I love the two of them.
Yep. They are just ready to get into some trouble.
Absolutely.
So the unmistakable tones of John Delancey come out of the Serpent. The Q have been watching, and they're impressed. Much to discuss, including, he says, perhaps the realization of their most impossible dreams. And Picard's like, gee, that really sounds exciting and all, but you see, we're on a rescue mission, super duper urgent, so maybe we save lives and then do your thing. And that's not going to work for Q. Come on. And he transforms from form of Aldebaran Serpent to form of Starfleet Admiral. Is this the Starfleet Admiral costume that I was shopping for?
Oh, God. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think you see this ever again.
Is there yet another one? Let me go.
I think I read somewhere that this is the only time you'll see.
Oh, yes. Right. Because this is the one that has this huge, chunky gold trim.
Gaudy.
Yeah.
It doesn't even fit.
Yeah, that's right.
Not now, damn it, Q.
Was there even a reason for Q to appear as a serpent? Why not just flash in already in Admiral costume?
That's what he usually does. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Why the guys? And like, maybe this was a subtle way to remind the audience that like True is serpent-like, like snaky, not trustworthy. Is that what we're trying to communicate?
He did say, if my magnificence blinds you, I'll appear something more familiar.
Yeah.
So maybe that is his.
He just likes a good costume change.
Yeah, and it's always fun. It's funny.
Anyway, Picard's like, how dare you try to pass yourself off as a Starfleet Admiral? And Q responds, well, I'm not an Aldebaran Serpent either, but you thought I was. You accepted me as that.
Okay, well, there's my answer. Because he's not an Aldebaran Serpent. We don't know what he looked like. He has to take the form of something, I imagine, so he can do whatever he wants.
All of that for no reason, but to give Riker a line. And that gets us to the heart of today's little jaunt.
Q here is so, like, sort of insulting and dismissive. Riker's like, we were on our way to help some suffering and dying humans. And he's like, you're always suffering. Humans are always suffering and dying. And then, of course, Worf wants to shoot him. And Picard tells him to stand down.
What did you make of Q's insults to Worf? Macro head with a micro brain.
It was very adolescent to me. It was very beneath him.
Yeah.
Because the way he insults everybody else is very intellectual, but he's like poking fun at how he looks. He's poking fun at his intelligence.
Yeah, this one didn't land with me. This one didn't fit.
Yeah.
Like, it obviously annoys Worf, and I guess that's the point, but not your best one, Q.
So Picard reminds him, okay, he's like, you said something about an impossible dream. When we're done with the rescue, let's revisit that, but we really would like to just get on with it. And he's like, why do you distrust me so? I'm like, are you kidding me? We know why. Picard reminds him of all the shit that he's done.
He sets Q down and pulls up Star Trek The Next Generation episode 1 on the screen. And he says, this is the encounter at Farpoint. Great episode. You're going to love it. This is why we don't trust you, you dipshit.
But he says, you seized my vessel. And then, of course, he mocks it. Oh, you seized my vessel. I'm like, he's so... Talk about gaslighting and being condescending.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's always like, oh, you puny humans, you're always thinking too small. My ship and crew, my whatever. Like, this is much bigger than that. Open your mind, man. And Q, now quickly bored of Picard, turns to Riker and asks what he thinks of this offer. Although there hasn't really been an offer yet. He just keeps vaguely talking about some fulfilling your dreams or whatever. And Riker's like, dude, we don't have time for these fucking games. And of course, this gives Q an idea. You've always got to be careful what you say to this guy.
Don't ever say games around him. It's like saying walk for when you got a dog.
Yes.
Or treat
outside
when you got a
yeah.
Don't say it.
So games, a game with deadly stakes. Ooh, this will be great fun. Bright white flashes all around as Q and everyone on the bridge, except for Picard, disappear. And they flash onto planet, paint the soundstage walls green, where they've got the foam rock playset set up.
2 moons.
They're trying to figure out where they might be. Yeah, 2 moons, M-class. But given Q's power, this could be any planet anywhere in the universe, or it could be something that he just made out of nothing for this game. So they don't really know where they are.
And they notice, Picard isn't with them. And Picard is back on the bridge all by himself. Nobody around. He calls out to engineering and nobody's answering. The turbo lift isn't responding. And I was trying to remember, do you remember the episode where in TOS where Kirk was on the bridge? Yeah, he was on the ship by himself.
What was that?
They were on a planet, and then occasionally there were these people watching. That they made a replica or something.
Oh, yes, it was the green people, right? All those people on the screen, they were like...
Were they green?
They were watching...
Or did
episode
they just had
that? Yeah, it was like... Oh my God, what episode was that, Allie?
I don't know.
They were...
They've replicated the Enterprise.
What the hell, man? Was it Wink of an Eye?
No.
Where they were pulling the crew into their time, into their speed? Damn, I remember. I know what you're talking about. This is fucking crazy. What was the big lesson in that was something about population control or something, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. Population control.
The Mark of Gideon.
Affirmative.
A race of aliens from an overpopulated planet abduct Captain Kirk to solve their problem.
Okay.
They make a fake Enterprise and they swap him out. Yeah. Okay. And Kirk's alone on the bridge. Yeah, I think that's it. Wow.
Oh,
okay.
There you go. Sorry. You can cut all that out. But yeah, this reminds me of that one TOS episode. And Sarah went down the rabbit hole and found it was the Mark of Gideon.
That's what we do.
There was nobody on the bridge. Nobody's answering. That would just feel so weird.
That would be
suddenly
freaky.
Everyone's gone and nobody's answering.
Yeah. On the planet, Tasha spots Q nearby, dressed now as an old French military officer of some kind. And he's got a tent set up to do military strategy things and invites Riker to come sit with him.
As if the rest of them aren't there.
Right. Q quotes 18th century philosopher David Hartley, "Nothing reveals humanity so well as the games it plays," but punches it up to say not which games it plays, but how you play them. And on this table, there's a giant Monopoly board set up, and Q's like, this one, for example, each player trying to hoard as much wealth as possible by making the other players a poor class, which owns nothing. Stupid little humans.
That sounds like a 21st century America.
Mm-hmm. Q offers Riker a drink, which just happens to be an old-fashioned lemonade, which Riker just happened to be thinking about. And Riker's like, damn, if we only had a bowl of apples, too.
That's a good one. Like, why is he thinking of lemonade at a time like this? And then he gives them, the rest of the crew, a drink, too. So something appears in everybody's hand, and, of course, Worf pours it out.
And throws the glass aside, shattering it on the ground. Riker makes note of Q's interest in humanity's past, says, maybe you're not that original after all, Q. I mean, seriously, level with me here. Trelane, was he one of yours? But it's not the past Q is interested in. It's humanity's future. Always changing, always evolving. But changing into what? Anyway, back to this game. This Napoleonic French campaign headquarters tent that Q dredged out of Picard's brain will set the stage. And I love this. As Data is explaining the history, he points out that Q's costume is a French army marshal. And Riker catches that this outranks an admiral. So, of course, Q is going to promote himself from Starfleet Admiral to French Marshal.
And of course, Q's, touting how he's so imaginative, and he's trying to figure out what kind of game are we going to play? Test of strength, maybe? Nah, you don't have any. A test of intelligence? Nah, you don't have any of that either.
So insulting.
I know, but we need some risk. You need something to lose.
And something to win. And the something to win is the greatest possible future that you can imagine. Still very vague on what the promise is here. But if they lose, not vague at all, it's not going to be a donkey behind door number 2. It'll be their lives.
And of course, Tasha pipes up like she did before in Farpoint. And she's like, you know what? I've had enough of this shit. And he froze her in Farpoint. And now he zaps her and he says, game penalty. And she's gone. She's in a penalty box, which we know that from hockey. And I don't know any other game with a penalty box. She's going to remain there. She'll be fine unless you do something to fuck up. And then she's going to go into nothingness.
So there's only enough room for one person in the penalty box at a time. Okay.
Poor Tasha.
Your species is always suffering and dying.
It turns out the penalty box is the bridge of the D, where we find Picard trying to record a log and failing. And as Tasha is explaining Q's penalty box, which has to be a band name, Q's penalty box, she gets pretty emotional, so emotional that Picard awkwardly tries to comfort her first, placing a hand on her shoulder without consent, and she shrugs him off.
The scene was all wrong and just not in the right place.
Yeah.
So I don't think she shrugged him off because she didn't want him to touch her.
Right.
I think she shrugged him off because she wanted to be strong. But this was just weird because then she goes, why? She's mad at herself for crying.
Yep.
And then she goes, oh, if you weren't a captain, when he's comforting her. And I'm like, that's just not.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's just inappropriate.
She's like, I'd hop up on this console and receive you right here.
Engage.
Oh my.
I mean,
God.
It was so out of place and cringe.
Yeah.
Did not belong here.
And Picard's like, my word, does the whole crew wish to fuck me? Picard even makes up a new rule.
New rule.
Crying is permitted. I hate him so much. Crying is permitted when in the penalty box on the bridge. Q, which is kind of weird to say, who pops in to tut this workplace fraternization and releases Tasha from the penalty box. This was great because Picard shit talks Q's cosplay. And Star Trek fans, listen up. Any cosplay is good cosplay, okay? Even the TNG uniform t-shirt or whatever that has the communicator badge screen printed on or whatever. Whatever you're doing. Yeah, whatever you're doing to show the love of your fandom, we love it and do more of it. So I feel like there's a lot of love out there in the fandom, but I also know there are some people that are judgy. So don't be judgy.
Yeah.
Essentially, the Q have become bored with Picard's stuffy military bullshit and closed mind. And instead, they're testing whether Riker is worthy of the greatest gift the Q can offer.
Mm.
There's a lot of confidence in this episode. Picard is very confident that Riker will, not be swayed by Q. Q is confident that he will be swayed because he's going to give him something impossible to refuse. Mm-hmm. And later, Riker's super confident about his ability to resist all this. There's just a lot of confidence in this episode.
A lot of pissing. What do you call it? Pissing matches.
A pissing match, yeah.
Yeah. Back on the planet, or wherever they are, everybody's standing around and they're looking off in the distance at Worf in the distance, and Geordi can see him with his amazing vision.
I can't wait until they develop him and stop using him as a pair of binoculars. I really can't wait.
Yeah. For this, he's a pair of binoculars, and basically they've sent him out scouting to see what's out there. And he's moving to the third ridge, moving really, really fast. And Worf spies some soldiers that are also in this fancy dress, as they call it in Britain.
Did you have anybody in your life that watched old war movies?
No. No.
My dad was an old war movie watcher, like North and South and shit like that, right? And like this is reenactment shit right here. Like this is like they set up a French military, like their tents and shit, and there's like a fire in the middle that the tents are all lined up around, and there's a big kettle hanging on the fire. Like we're going to go pretend to be French soldiers for the weekend.
Okay. So I didn't have anyone like in my family or anything, but later on when I left home, I moved to Jacksonville, and I met this dude that did reenactments, like Civil War reenactments.
Oh my.
Stuff. White dude, of course,
yeah.
because no black person in their right mind would want to fucking relive that. But that was a thing, and it is probably still a thing, and especially in the South. I don't know if is here up in the not South, but they get the clothes and the muskets, and they're really into it. Reliving and reenacting that shit, and we used to oh my god, I'm pretty sure he's not listening. But we used to call him KK Kevin. KK.
Oh shit.
We used to call me and some other people and who were white and would make sort of light of him reenactment. We would just call him KKK Kevin.
That's hilarious.
I didn't understand. I'm like, why would
you want to do that? Yeah.
Why and why are you gonna come and tell me about it?
Yeah.
I don't care. I do not care.
Maybe it's a seeking approval thing. Like, if I can talk to my black friend about it, then it must be okay.
I wasn't his friend. I was just happened to work in the same building.
Oh no, this was workplace bullshit. That's even worse. Oh man.
Good times. The 90s. I miss the 90s.
Well, couple that with, do you remember in the cage where we went like cage by cage and talked about all of these Monster of the Week costumes that they pulled out? There's a Birdman and an Ape Man and something like that. This alien headpiece is, I don't know if it's Pigman. It's not quite pig.
Telluride. I wrote down Tellurites because they look like the Pig Boy.
Yeah.
Pig Boy.
But it's a different face.
Yeah.
But they look very similar to them. Yeah. I'm not sure what you call them, but they're dressed as French soldiers playing into this whole game. And Worf, having seen all this, runs back to inform the rest. On the Enterprise, Picard enters the ready room to find Q sitting in his chair again. This is Q's like big baller move, like always fucking showing up in Picard's chair.
I love it though.
I do too.
And here they are both doing Shakespeare.
Q appears in Picard's chair with this gigantic tome of Shakespearean literature. It is the biggest fucking book. I mean, puts War and Peace to shame. This thing is huge. This is a great scene.
Yeah.
Not that I like Shakespeare, because I think we've talked before, like I'm not at the education level to, read, analyze, understand, and reflect on Shakespeare because of the way it's written.
I would love to be, though,
I don't know that I've got all the time for that,
Oh, I don't. I certainly don't. But
I also think like a lot of times Star Trek translates Shakespeare at us, right? Like a lot of times even in TOS, they were retelling Shakespearean stories in space and in a way that is maybe more easily digestible to people like me. But what I love about this scene is you have like two masters of the stage.
Oh, yeah.
In Sir Patrick and John Delancey tearing it up at each other. And I just fucking loved this.
It was beautiful. Picard is just trying to get at him as like, why these games? Why can't you do anything direct? And then, of course, Q says, the play's the thing. You know, I'm surprised you ask when your human Shakespeare explained it so well.
He's like, how we respond to a game tells you more about us than our real life. I get it. It's like running a controlled experiment rather than, simply observing the species naturally. You have a little more control over the variables. That makes a lot of sense. Picard says, that's really interesting, this experiment thing that you're doing. And Q's like, oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. How about some Hamlet next? But Picard beats him to it. He's like, oh, no. I know Hamlet and what he might say with irony. Picard says with conviction, what a piece of work is man. How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form, in moving, how express and admirable. In action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god.
Woo.
And Q's like, you really don't see yourself like that, do you? Like, little human, how dare you? But this is masters of the stage going at it here.
And Picard says, I do see us one day becoming that.
This is the Star Trek values. Picard is like, sit down, friends. We're going to talk about this is what Star Trek is trying to tell you. We can one day become that. We're not now, but it is a possible and attainable future for humanity.
And Q doesn't like that at all. So much he throws the book at Picard and he winks out. Back on the planet, LaForge or Binocular Guy is saying what the soldiers are forming some sort of skirmish line. Worf is on his way back, and they're talking about, oh, these guys have muskets. Surely that's no match for, our phasers. And then Riker has this idea that maybe our phasers don't work because Q's done that before. He's either taken their weapons or he's rendered them useless. So he goes and aims at a rock and blows it up just to check, and it works.
That was a very TOS practical effect as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get one of those. Those are the cute little tiny phasers.
Yeah, the garage door opener phaser.
Yeah.
That's the Type 1 phaser, I believe.
Okay. That's what the Type 1 is.
I think. I don't know. Don't at me. Don't email me. I don't care.
Yeah, we don't do research.
No.
As the rock blows up, Worf happens to come around the corner and he's ready to fight. And he's like, no, hang on, it's just me. I was just checking to make sure our phasers were still working.
These alien things are coming in hot. And Worf describes them as vicious animal things. And Riker, I love this bit too. Riker asks Data, who casually turns away from camera like he's kind of looking around. And Riker asks if he has any idea what's going on. And when he turns back to camera, it's not Data, it's Q in Data cosplay.
Yeah, makeup, everything.
This was fucking great.
I know.
Yeah, he looked so good.
He tells Riker to just think fast. And that's when the animal things start firing. And obviously, they don't have muskets. They have some sort of energy weapons. So, have we done the Star Trek fight at all?
No, we have one time, I believe. One time. That was the episode where the Ferengi jumped on Riker's back and was,
oh, that's right. Yeah. Could this be a
No, this one, I don't know that this is. I mean, yeah, I guess it is. Worf is throwing punches and shit. Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Star Trek fight.
Star Trek fight.
Hell yeah. So Geordi's like dodging and rolling. Riker vaporizes a couple of soldiers, but there's more coming in. And does this count as a death? The pigmen dying?
I mean, I honestly, because I don't think they were real, honestly.
Okay. All right.
I didn't because I didn't even think that I forgot about them. I honestly didn't think they were real. And with Q, you just don't know what's
all right,
real.
Fair enough. All right, your explanation has been accepted. And
and in my mind, I'm like, oh shit.
And finally, Q tells Riker to save his friends, yoink them back to the Enterprise the same way Q yoinks people around, with the power of the Q. Riker mimics Q's hand motion, and we see Geordi, Data, and Worf flash away. And it was at this point that I thought, wait, wasn't Tasha released from the penalty box? Is she still up there?
Oh, that's right. But she's still
there. Yeah. So that's my question at this moment. Why is she still in the penalty box on the Enterprise and not back in the game. Anyway, Act 3.
Captain. Oh, if you weren't a captain.
On the bridge, Picard tells Tasha to bend over the con station. But, but before he can get out of his jumpsuit, Geordi, Data, and Worf flash in. And we learn here that they're back on course as if they never stopped because Q suspended time.
Of course.
Just like that time they came back from the courtroom in Farpoint.
The only thing is, Riker's not there. Riker's still on the planet.
There's also a fun bit about none of them really wanting to describe the soldiers when they're given this report on here's what it looked like. And they do this like pass the ball around about it. Like, well, they were these, I don't know, like animal things.
Data says, I just didn't find them aesthetically pleasing, but I'll just put in the report.
Yeah, like even Data doesn't want to describe them.
Tasha does let Picard know that Riker's still missing, and Picard suspected that his interest was in Riker this time.
So I guess we just go back to the mission we were supposed to be doing this week. Dying people in Act 1. Anybody remember them?
Yeah.
On the planet, Riker is sitting on a rock laughing his head off, and we get a great scene with him and Q. Q's trying to impress upon him what this gift really means, but Riker knows that there's an ulterior motive at work here. Obviously, Q wants something, and so he gets Q to confess it. At Farpoint, Q had thought humans as only savages, but became interested in humanity's compulsion to grow, learn, and evolve. And so Q went back home to the Continuum, which is, I think, the first time we've ever heard it called this, the Continuum. And that exists in this limitless dimensions of the galaxy, whatever that means. So Q went back home and started doing some research and realized that humanity, with this peculiar trait of growing and evolving, might one day grow even beyond the Q themselves.
And why not get them on their side now?
Mm-hmm.
So Q is trying to entice Riker to become one of them. And Riker's like, what? One of you? You want me to become one of you?
I don't even like you. Suddenly, Q flashes away and flashes in Picard, Data, Tasha, Worf, Geordi, and Wesley, the boy.
Have the boy sent to the bridge, number 1.
My name is Wesley.
Wesley, I wanted to speak to you about the boy.
My name is Wesley.
He seems to have developed some sort of special attachment to the boy.
My name is Wesley.
Did he say Wesley? The boy?
My name is Wesley.
What is the boy doing here?
My name is Wesley.
The boy. Where is he, please?
My name is Wesley.
The boy? He's outside.
My name is Wesley.
Wesley Crusher, report to the bridge. On the double.
They quickly realize that this time they're unarmed and the enemy soldiers are advancing again, including a trumpeter. This was a fun little touch. Like, they are really doing this role play all the way down to every little detail. And this is the Star Trek fight.
Yeah, another one. Star Trek fight!
Well, the earlier one, I think Riker was just licking off shots.
Yeah, true.
And then he yoinked them away. This one, Worf is in there like throwing elbows and starts kicking ass. But Worf's outnumbered, and it's not long before he's gutted with a bayonet.
Oh my God! They've killed
Mr. Worf.
you, bastards!
Wesley's like, no! And what's Wesley gonna do? He goes to help Worf. And of course, he gets stabbed from behind with a bayonet.
Oh my God! They've killed
The boy.
My name is Wesley.
Aren't you dead?
you, bastards!
In some of the best overacting we've seen, perhaps since Shatner himself, Riker's like, no, fuck this, and throws up a Q force field. And Picard's like, what the actual fuck? Riker, you did that?
He's like, yeah, watch this.
Yeah, but wait, there's more.
And this is exactly what Q wanted. He keeps putting them in situations, enticing them with something, and then making them use it and giving them no choice. So Riker has the power, and he zaps them all back to the bridge safely.
Riker goes, I have the power! So they flash back onto the bridge, where we find that both Worf and Wesley are alive and well. And Riker is standing before them, arms crossed over his puffed out chest, with a very smug look of superiority on his face. And Picard's like, that grid, their wounds, your smug face, only a cue.
I don't even like you.
You're gonna miss me.
They're only 12 minutes out from Quadra Sigma 3.
Well, I guess the game is over now.
Is it though?
Is that the end of the game? Because now we're continuing on this mission to save the miners or whatever?
Yeah, they're continuing on the mission, but Picard is like, okay, now Riker's got this power. I don't know what this means. How do I advise you? I don't know what the implications of this is.
I took this, and I don't know if this is better discussion for later or not, but we're going to have it now.
Okay.
I took this conversation as kind of a different approach to the concept of the Prime Directive. But in this case, an advanced alien has interfered with humans. Humans are the recipient of the meddling by an advanced species rather than being the meddler, as we usually are.
How does that feel?
So that makes the question, like, what should humans do with that?
That's an interesting take, because that's all Q ever does is mess with them. And they hate it. They hate it. They hate the interference.
We'll come back to this, I think. I think I have more notes about this. This scene doesn't show it as clearly as it is later, but I started thinking about whether or not I believed Riker would actually consider taking on this Q-ness, whatever, knowing what we know about his character to this point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I was hoping he would, just be like, I don't want this. Because he's such a man of character.
Yes.
But I think he's human too.
Right. So they're about to make the argument that the ability to resist using this power is like easier said than done, right? But he does make a promise to Picard here that he does not intend on using these powers again, no matter how difficult or tempting Q tries to make it.
He gives his word.
And the first test of this word comes very quickly as the Enterprise arrives at Quadra Sigma 3, and the triage team of Riker, Data, Geordi, Crusher, and a couple UC blue shirt medical people beam down and find the last of the survivors. There's a couple of great moments here reminding us of Data's superhuman strength as he has to force open a door and then lift a bunch of heavy foam rocks off a dead kid.
Yeah. He tosses them, of course, like they are foam rocks, but yeah, he's tossing them, and he finds this girl who's been buried by rocks, and they lift her up, but it's too late. She's already dead.
First of all, this is a mining operation? Why is a kid working in the mines?
I guess it's a settlement too.
I guess. And Beverly is apparently completely unaware of anything else that's happened in this episode, because when Data's like, Riker, you're a Q now. Why don't you just, flash her back to life? Beverly's like, I'm sorry, you're a what?
But Riker doesn't, which I thought he would, but he doesn't.
I thought he would too. But I think maybe the difference between this and the other things is it's harder to resist when you have the personal connection to the person you're trying to save, right? He doesn't know this girl, and he's got some kind of part of his being that wants to help the girl, regardless of whether there's any kind of prerequisite attachment or not.
Well, and they made it a child so that it would really, really tug at the heartstrings.
Yeah.
But he still didn't do it.
Yep. He didn't do it, but he's not happy about it. And as the away team comes back onto the bridge, he voices this to Picard. I should never have given you my word. I could have saved that kid. And apparently Riker was a lot more easily swayed to the pro-Q power camp than Picard even expected. He's like, look at all the good I can do. Like, this is a gift. This is a good thing. I can do so much good. Yeah.
But Picard is always like, wait, but what happens when you start liking it a little too much, and you start to become power hungry and it changes you?
Well, it already has changed him. Riker's got the swagger. He's got the Q swagger. He's like, I'd like a meeting with you and your staff, as if he's not one of the staff.
Oh, yeah.
He walks away in the middle of Picard's sentence, and like steps into the turbo lift and just shoots daggers out of his eyes as the turbo lift doors close. So he's changed already.
Oh, and he's starting to call the captain John Luke.
Mm-hmm. Beverly and Wesley step off the turbo lift, and Riker's like, right away, Wesley, this meeting is not for you. And he's like, but I'm kind of a bridge officer now. Thanks to you, of course.
Yeah. So that's very odd because he's always welcomed Wesley before anyone else would on the bridge.
Right. And why wouldn't he want Wesley there for this, let me convince you to let me be a Q or whatever?
He's basically going to try to convince everyone that he's not a monster and to not be afraid of him, even though he's doing shit like acting all, huffy and calling Captain by his first name.
Yeah. And it seems like, again, in very like Q sort of fashion, he's surprised when everybody doesn't change their behavior after he says, come on, guys, I'm not a monster. I'm the same old, Bill Riker that you know and love. And then they were all still like bothered by him. And he's surprised that just that simple declaration of I'm not a bad guy didn't change them, didn't convince them. That's a very Q-like sort of response.
And Picard says something that we have said in many of the TOS episodes in the past about how power corrupts. And so Picard is like, well, maybe they're remembering the old saying, power corrupts. But then Riker says, well, also, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And don't you think I've thought of that, John Luke?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, motherfucker, back the fuck up. Why are you calling me by my first name?
There's some great face acting here by Frakes because, you're not the same old Riker, right? Suddenly we're on a first name basis. Picard's like, who do you think you are? And it looks like Riker didn't even notice he was doing it. Like he doesn't even notice he's acting like Q. All told by the face. And I thought that was great. But to show that maybe he's not that bothered by it, or maybe to meet Riker where he's at, he calls him Will. And with that, we can put the Bill jokes to rest.
It's over.
Case closed.
He's now Will. Episode 10.
I really do like this scene, though. Like so many times, Star Trek doesn't have the ethical debate out loud like this, right? They just...
Hey, this is the theme, and they just seal it with some old saying or quote from Shakespeare, and then that's how we get that's how we get the theme. But I wanted them to do this every episode.
Yes, yeah.
Is fight it out and show me why it's wrong.
Riker thinks that saving that girl, who should never have been working in those mines anyways, my God, child labor laws for fuck's sake, saving that girl wouldn't have been wrong, no more wrong than saving everybody the way he did from those French animal things.
And Picard's saying exactly what I was saying. They would have even been in the danger had it not been for Q. So he set them up, as he always does, and then gives them no choice but to react a certain way.
Does that change the ethical question in any way? Is kind of what we're asked here.
Yeah.
Like the crew could have been in real danger, even with Q involved. We don't really know. And anyway, Tasha points out that, so far, the Q have shown that they think of us as lowly animals. Savage child race, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
But Riker says, no, they actually think pretty highly of humans. We have a quality of growth, which they admire. And Geordi adds, or fear. Yes.
Thank you.
Exactly. And we didn't spend as much time on this thought as I would have liked either, but yes. Why would we not assume that the Q are just using Riker to prevent humans from one day out-evolving them? Like going back in time to prevent the Borg from taking over Earth, for example. Yeah.
He's blinded right now. He's like, this power is amazing. They only meant good by giving it to me,
Right.
Because that's what he wants to believe. And Picard is like, this has muddled your brain, man. You're not thinking straight. And he's like, don't you guys understand? This is such a great gift. And then, of course, Q pops in.
Another costume change.
I don't understand why he's in a monk. He's in one of those a Sistine monk. I don't know what are they called, Sistine monks?
I don't know. It's like a big brown medieval monk robe. It's the Gregorians, right? This is the Gregorian chanters.
Monk. Yep.
And Q asks Riker, "Are these truly your friends, brother?"
I feel like such an idiot.
Quite right. So you should.
I love Picard. He's like, you really should stop this clown car of costumes from the wardrobe department and get your own identity. And Q holds up this wooden cross that he's wearing around his neck. It's a Catholic thing. What's it called? There's a word for it.
Rosary?
A rosary, that's what it is.
But is that beads? I don't know. Rosaries are just beads.
Yeah, it has beads on it. It's like a bead loop with a cross hanging off of it.
Okay.
Anyway, Q holds up this cross and screams, "The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!"
He's like, "Let us pray," some bullshit like that. And Picard's like, and as you said, he's done. He's done with this bullshit.
Worf gets another great one-liner after Picard calls Q a flim-flam man, and we cut to Worf, and Worf's like, "Flim-flam." Surprised that didn't go to Data.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But Q is, of course, doing his little manipulation bit between Riker and Picard. He's like, well, you guys are all jealous of Riker, and what I can give him is clearly beyond your comprehension. This is how, like, people are enticed into, like, cults and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They basically alienate them from the people who love them, their family, and make it seem like they're going to give them something so much more and so much bigger.
Mm-hmm. Q lets slip that he feels Picard is obstructing Riker from becoming a Q. And that little bit of like foot in the door wedge of a possibility for Riker to still say no is just what Picard wanted to hear. Q suggests perhaps Riker should give each of his friends a parting gift to show his affection. And Picard readily agrees to this. Just like he was confident earlier that Riker would say no thank you, he expects his crew to reject these gifts. Let's hope he's right this time. He ain't been right all episode.
Whew, and I was worried. So he's like, yeah, go ahead. Please feel free to cooperate with him. Riker tells people, don't be frightened. There's no way I could harm any of you. And then he starts trying to guess their dreams. And Crush is like, boy, I want you gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't know what Wesley's dreaming, but whatever it is.
Well, he's a 15-year-old boy. I've got a pretty good guess.
And then Riker starts in as almost Q-like with the manipulation.
Yeah.
He's like, Wesley, we talk a lot and we have a really good friendship, and I want to give you your favorite wish. And before Crusher can even protest, he turns Wesley into like a young man, like 10 years older. And everyone's going, not bad, Wes. Like, so out of place.
And 25-year-old Wesley, stud Wesley, I guess, is played by William A. Wallace, who doesn't have a ton of credits. And here he doesn't even get to use his own voice.
Oh, that's right.
It's still Will Wheaton's voice.
Why are you saying it like that?
Why didn't he change that too?
I don't
That's
know.
weird.
Yeah. Next, Mr. Data to become human. But Data refuses very quickly. Even if it would be real to Q, and perhaps even to Riker, it wouldn't be real to Data. And Data's like, I felt a little left out when you guys were shouting Shakespeare at each other, so allow me to add, this above all to thine own self be true.
So denied right off the bat.
And with each one of these, we kind of see Picard be more reassured in his confidence for letting this all go forward.
And then he, of course, turns to Geordi, and he's like, well, I know what you want. You want to see, don't you? So he waves his hand, and suddenly the visor's gone. He doesn't have those contacts that he usually has when he takes his visor off. And then he looks around the room, just sees everybody, looks out the window, sees the planet. And then he goes to Tasha.
And he's like, damn, girl.
He's like, damn, girl, you fine?
Is your name Angel? did you just fall from heaven?
Again, it's a little bit too, it's out of place.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's like, you're more beautiful than I imagined and more. And then Riker's like, so you could throw away the visor. But no, Geordi's like, no, the price is a little bit too high for me. And I love this line. He's like, I don't like who I would have to thank for it.
Mm-hmm. I love this screen wipe effect here. That was real fun as Riker's hand comes back, across the screen and it switches from Geordi without all the shit on his head. And then we come back to the white, cloudy, milky contacts. I thought that was a great screen wipe.
Yep. But Riker ain't done yet.
Oh my God.
It just keeps getting worse and worse. It's Worf's turn. And he thinks the only thing Worf wants is a woman, a Klingon woman.
Well, he has said before that he would, break a human girl in half like a twig. So
yeah, but they've basically reduced Worf to just impulses, and he's stupid, and all he wants to do is mate.
Yep. So Riker provides a Klingon woman already on her knees.
Oh my.
And she gets up and they growl at each other and then they foreplay fight, throwing each other around. And Geordi's like, Worf, is this your idea of sex? And Worf's like, yes. And I'd prefer it if you all not watch.
And then that's when Q goes and calls him microbrain again.
Yeah. And again, that's that, that reduction to the base instinct to fuck and procreate or whatever. Like,
yeah.
What Riker has done for him is the same as Q calling him microbrain. Like Riker has just provided the physical manifestation of that idea of who Worf is.
Yeah. And at this point, Wesley, the 25-year-old Wesley with the 15-year-old Wesley voice, says, it's too soon for this. He doesn't want this gift. And Riker's like, oh, well, it's because your mother objects? And he's like, no, I want to get there on my own.
And that's it. Picard knew his crew would resist. They did. And now Q can go fuck right off. And for some reason, Picard gets up, walks over to Q, and pulls the hood of his robe off his head. Like,
bold.
The only thing that would have made that move better is if Picard had kicked off his high heels and took his earrings out first, and then walked over and yanked the hood off his head. And this is the gaslighting we've been talking about. Picard demands that Q hold up his end of the deal and leave humans the fuck alone now. And Q's like, I didn't make any wager. I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody was there to see it, so it didn't happen. But Q is yoinked away by what we assume is the rest of the continuum in a screaming fit on his way out. Everything flashes back to normal. Wesley is young again. Worf's fuck toy disappears, and everybody is flashed back to their normal positions.
No time has passed.
Yeah, according to the chronometer, they just beamed back from their rescue mission. And Data gets a good chair chat line here. He asks, how is it that the Q can handle time and space so well and us so badly? And Picard suggests perhaps one day we'll learn that time and space are much simpler than the human equation. Off we go to the next adventure, and we'll never speak of this again.
Oh, those, yeah.
If I'm
Fun.
Riker, next week, I'm going to be like, hey, this crazy shit that happened. Boy, if you'd have let me kept them Q powers, I sure could have handled this situation, huh?
Yeah.
Boy, I'm sure glad that's over with.
I'll be glad to be relieved of this cargo.
Me too.
It is done, and perhaps just as well.
Yeah, but I learned something today.
I sincerely hope that this is the last time that I find myself here.
You just don't get it, do you, Jean-Luc? You see, of all the species, yours cannot abide stagnation. Change is at the heart of what you are. That is the exploration that awaits you. Not mapping stars and studying nebula, but charting the unknown possibilities of existence.
So the PD question about an advanced alien interfering with humans and what should humans do with that, right? Like, imagine an advanced alien species visits Earth and gives us some incredible technology. And maybe that technology completely releases us from our dependence on fossil fuels, like overnight.
I would be completely suspicious.
Yeah.
Just because in my human way of thinking, you don't just give that away without, there's a price, and maybe we just don't know what it is yet.
Right. So we get a developmental leap as a species, but what are the possible consequences of doing that? Like, sure, it solves the immediate global warming problem, but are there other concerns that would be created by taking this future tech and implementing it or whatever? Like, that's kind of how what made me think of, like, you know, if I'm Riker and I can snap my finger and solve the problems, would I do it? Is it ethical? Is that right?
Right. What's the downstream effect?
Yeah.
It's not, you can't just do that. There's always a bigger picture. Yeah. That's a great point.
Another thought I had was, in all the gift refusals, in most of them, and maybe this is why Worf's didn't register for me, the big argument that they were making is, like, getting there is half the fun, right? Or the thing has less value when you don't work for it, when it's just given to you.
Given. Yeah.
Like, Data wants to come to being more human on his own by doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Wesley wants to grow up on his own, not skip a couple of chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Geordi would probably take a medical solution to this, you know, to give him human vision or whatever, if that was a thing. But this just doesn't feel earned. But Worf's is like, I just don't want everyone watching while we fuck. I just didn't.
That's all they gave him.
I didn't get it. Yeah, no, I didn't get it.
They didn't have anything with more substance. They could have given something to Tasha, maybe, or I don't know what her struggle is, but
what do you make of the idea that the reward or the outcome isn't as valuable if you didn't work for it to earn it? How do you feel about that generally as a concept? That's the complicated feeling that I have. Yes, I agree.
For the reason I can't answer immediately, that's like, in a perfect world, yeah, everyone would refuse.
Yeah.
But there's so much complexities to humans. And if somebody offered me $1 million right now, do you fucking think I wouldn't?
Right.
Hell yeah.
Right.
Even knowing I'm like, and in my mind, I will be like, you know what? The repercussions can't be that bad. You know, I will tell myself that.
Right.
To justify
to make it okay. Yeah.
taking that.
I think about it in terms of how, and what you just voiced makes me think even more differently about what I was thinking when I wrote this, which was the idea of, you know, certain people on the political spectrum, when they talk about, like, so-called entitlement programs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people say you shouldn't get a house. You have to work for it, earn the money, earn the house. And I don't agree with it in that use. Clearly,
Yeah.
I'm a crazy socialist that wants to just provide food and housing and medical to everybody. Whether you work for it or not, I don't give a shit. And in that context, I don't think you should feel differently about whether it's something that was received by earning it or not. I think we need to get ourselves to the point where there's a way that we look at these human rights, what we consider to be rights as living beings in this society, and that should be expanded to include more things, and that we don't feel, you know, like it's less valuable if we didn't earn some of the human rights that we think about. And, you know, we have a lot of freedoms as humans, particularly in the West, that aren't earned, that you didn't earn. And you might, you know, masturbate over an American flag about how the troops fought for your freedoms or whatever. But, like, these are freedoms that you didn't earn personally. They have been bestowed upon you by our society. And I think we should expand that.
And isn't being human enough to say you deserve to have a place to live?
Yep. And what you said before I just said what I said made me think of the hypocrisy of those people that I just described, who would say, you know, these are the people behind the welfare queen argument and shit like that, that, you know, you just want handouts from the government and you don't want to have to work for it, are also the same people that when presented with here's $1 million, no strings attached, would probably have to like take the money and run.
Yeah.
Like I believe in my heart that they might say they would object to it on principle like Riker, but when it comes to the moment, of course you're going to do it.
And they'll say whatever to justify it.
Yes.
To convince not only us, but themselves.
Yep.
That this is what I deserve. This is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Anything else?
Gosh, of course, power,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, we have these questions, like these stupid icebreakers. What kind of superpower would you like? And if you had it, of course you're going to fucking use it. Like,
yeah.
Like, we all wake up and suddenly we can move things with our mind. Guess what? I'm going to move things with my mind.
I'm moving the furniture today. I'm redecorating. Hell yeah.
When everyone isn't on an even playing field and suddenly you're more powerful than they are, of course you're going to do it. It's terribly human and I hate it.
Yeah.
But you're going to want to do it. It's absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
We can handle all the pleasantries later. Now, let's get down to business.
I am willing to pay handsomely for you. I think you've had a little too much to drink.
Now, what do you know about my money?
Your money.
The money he stole!
You stole his money?
Those vouchers I gave you were every bit as good as Latinum.
You can spend Latinum almost anywhere. Those vouchers are only good at your bar.
We want to thank everyone who supports the show on Patreon. We especially want to thank our founding admirals. A special thanks to Russell, Allie, Peter, Sarah, Sherry, and Bruce. Thank you, patrons.
Thanks, guys.
Greetings, savvy profit seekers of the Alpha Quadrant. Your ears have stumbled upon the lucrative opportunity of a lifetime. Humanist Trek. Now, don't just stand there like a Packwood waiting for enlightenment. Let's talk business. First, unleash your linguistic prowess and leave us a review. It's like planting the seeds of profit in the fertile soils of the podcasting market. Smart, right? Now, for those truly desiring a spot in the Ferengi Hall of Commerce, consider becoming a patron. It's not charity. It's an investment in the future of comedic prosperity. Early access, exclusive profit-branded merch, and bonus content so valuable, you'll feel like you discovered a cache of hidden gold-pressed Latinum. Don't be a rule of acquisition violator. Head to patreon.com/humanisttrek and pledge as low as $3 a month. The return on your investment? Priceless laughter! And the satisfaction of knowing you're supporting the galaxy's next big profit venture. Profit is our mission, and with your help, we'll be laughing all the way to Grand Nagus' bank.
Let me remind you that taking business advice from a female is a violation of Ferengi law. Shame on you!
I hope you're satisfied.
Captain, Starfleet Academy is requesting an update on our estimated arrival.
Finalists, please take your seats.
I must admit you have a very fast mind.
Once I realized it was a trick question, there was only one answer.
Although only one student will be chosen for the Academy, any of you could easily qualify. Candidates, good luck.
You got called to the superintendent's office. It's a story I'd like to hear.
All right, Becca's back now with the answer to this week's Starfleet Academy Cadet Challenge for Hyde and Q. Remind us again the question.
This is the second time Q appears in an episode of TNG. How many TNG episodes in total did Q appear?
Allie said
9, because I have no fucking clue.
and Sarah said 5. Remind us all the titles that we named, because I don't remember.
You named Encounter at Farpoint, Hyde and Q, Cupid, and All Good Things.
Okay, so what are we missing? And how many were there?
There were 8 total.
Oh.
I had an opportunity to show the captain my superior capabilities, and I failed. I can never recover from that.
Damn, you were so close.
Yeah, you were. But you'll still get 4 points for the ones you named.
So what are we missing?
The ones you're missing are Q Who.
Oh, shit. Yeah, of course.
Deja Q.
Oh, yeah.
True Q.
I don't remember that one.
And Tapestry.
Oh.
Tapestry.
Yes. That's the one where they send Picard back. Remember, like, all the choices that you made make you who you are today. and they send him back to the academy, and he's like fighting the Nausicaans and gets the thing through his heart or whatever, like that, reliving. But if he doesn't go through that, he becomes this junior officer, no name blue shirt guy, like UC blue shirt. Yeah. Damn it. All right. Well, you got us. Okay, but we'll take the points that you gave us anyway. All right. Next week, then, we'll be reviewing Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 11, Haven. Counselor Deanna Troi is caught between her feelings for Riker and her devotion to family customs when she faces a prearranged marriage. I remember a lot about this episode. Do you?
I do too. And of course, I love her mom. I love Major Barrett. She's so funny in this. And it was comical.
Yeah, it's a great character. And Hom, I absolutely love Hom. That's where we meet Hom.
Come on, Mr. Hom.
And this is another appearance by Armin Shimmerman.
Yes.
Whose face is in the box of jewels that opens up.
Yep.
Wonder if any of those things might be our question. What's our question for Haven?
What non-Trek reoccurring role did Armin Shimmerman turn down to accept the one-time role in this episode as the talking gift box?
What?
Oh, good. I'm glad you don't know. I was worried. You listen to a lot of podcasts that he appears in.
What role did he turn down? Yeah, so he was going to be like Norm on Cheers or some shit.
Oh.
Like a recurring character.
There's no
I don't have a clue. Are you kidding me?
Non-Trek recurring role. What the fuck?
1987.
What was on back then? Yeah, Cheers. What was on?
Guiding Light.
Days of Our Lives.
I don't think it was a soap.
It had to be a nighttime.
Ooh, Night Court.
Ooh. It would have to be something nighttime sitcom or nighttime hour show. Yep. What was on in 1987?
I don't have a clue. You got me on this one.
God damn it.
And it's what role, not just what show. What role? What character?
I mean, I'd give you either, but I don't know that you're going to get it now that I'm thinking about it.
No, we're definitely not going to get it. All right, you stumped us.
We could say something for comedy.
I've said a few for comedy already.
You said Night Court. I'm trying to remember what else was on back in 87. Damn it, Rebecca.
Don't call me Rebecca.
I know. I used your full name.
She's mad at you.
There were some shows out that were on in 87.
I'd Google, but I'd get yelled at.
Oh, yeah, true. I don't know, Frasier. It's bullshit. It's Cheers' cousin show,
right?
Frasier.
Right. All right. You got us. And if you want to play along, you know how to do that. Head out to your social media, share this answer, tag Armin Shimmerman.
Right.
And us. Tell us what your guess is, and we'll pick out a winner. And then next week, we'll talk about Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 11, Haven.
Glory to your house.
Make it so, number 1.
Humanist Trek is available wherever you replicate your podcast. Follow us on all the social medias at Humanist Trek. Become a patron at patreon.com/humanisttrek. Open hailing frequencies to podcast@humanisttrek.com and visit our website, humanisttrek.com. Humanist Trek is a production of Sarah Austin Media.